Do you know the number one fear that women have? The number one need that women have in a marriage relationship? Do you know the number one fear that men have and the need that they have in a relationship? Tune in to the broadcast today, Wisdom for Living, and we'll answer that question that I believe will be a blessing to you.
Welcome to Wisdom for Living with Greg Mohr. Join with Greg as he shares truth from the Word of God that will help you grow in wisdom and successfully navigate a balanced life with family, marriage, finances, and relationships. And now, here's Greg.
Hey, it's great to have you with us again today on Wisdom for Living. I'm Greg Mohr with Greg Mohr Ministries. It's been a blessing to come into your home, your office, wherever you're watching this, to share the Word of God with you. You know, our vision with our Wisdom for Living programs is to help people grow in wisdom, help people grow in maturity or Christ-likeness, help them grow in their understanding of God's grace and favor in their lives. And so these broadcasts are dedicated to help you grow in these areas. And I encourage you to reach out to us and go on our website. And those of you who've been receiving from us, encourage you to partner with us. We've been talking this week and in these broadcasts about building a successful marriage. What does it take to build a marriage that lasts, to divorce-proof your marriage? The enemy is assaulting marriages in this time, in this season, like none other. And so it's really been my heart for us to talk about how to build a successful marriage, whether your marriage is already successful. We can always grow improve in these areas, and also, but you may know family or friends that are struggling in their marriage relationship, and so we're going to be sharing principles that I've learned through my relationship with my wife for over 40 years, and then also people that I actually learned a lot just through counseling, and we counseled my wife and I've counseled hundreds of people who've had marriage issues. So we're going to be sharing these things with you. But I want to tell you a funny. These are actual ads that were classified ads that were found in different newspapers, and so that's really funny. A free Yorkshire Terrier, 8 years old, hateful little dog, bites. Free puppies, 1/2 Cocker Spaniel, 1/2 sneaky neighbor's dog. Free puppies, part German Shepherd, part stupid dog. want those puppies. Give me the smart half of them, right? The German Shepherd, 85 pounds, neutered, speaks German, free. Oh, that's great. Snowblower for sale, only used on snowy days. Nordic Track, $300, hardly used, call Chubby. Oh, that's funny. Georgia Peaches, California grown, 89 cents a pound. Oh, this one's really funny. Nice parachute, never opened, used once. Yeah, I want that one. Yeah, I want to see if I can open that thing. Yeah, and then the best one of all is for sale by owner. Complete set of Encyclopedia Britannica, no longer needed. Got married last month. Husband knows everything. Oh, that's greatness. That's funny. Okay, so we've talked about principles that build a successful marriage. You have to work at building a successful marriage. It's not just going to happen automatically, or just because your parents had a good marriage. Maybe your parents didn't have a good marriage. My parents divorced when I was 8 years old, so I didn't have a good model of a good marriage. Then when my mom remarried, that marriage wasn't strong, and so I didn't have a good model. I had to pray, God, show me how to have a good marriage. I wanted a marriage that would last. I wanted a marriage where we would stay together. I didn't want our children, my future children, to go through what we went through, myself and my 3 brothers and my sister, what we went through, as a result of my parents' divorce. At my dad's funeral, one of my brothers and my sister, the pastor was asking if he could share, if either one of them could share any good memories about my dad, and neither one of them, my dad left when they were like, my little brother was 8 months old and my sister, I think, was 3, and neither one of them, they said, we don't have a single good memory of our relationship with our dad. I mean, that's sad. And I want to live my life in such a way that a preacher doesn't have to lie at my funeral. And the best group of people that I want to disciple is my children and my grandchildren, and I want to create a legacy. Well, it's hard to do that if we don't build a successful marriage. And so, it's been a passion of mine since a young boy God show me how to be a good husband, show me how to be a good dad, and God's graced me and helped me and helped us to do that. My wife and I have been married over 40 years, and thank God for the relationship that we have, and we still hold hands. In fact, Janice is my best friend. I have lots of other friends, but I have no friend that's greater. I have no bond that's greater than my marriage bond, and we're close. And I just want to encourage you. If you're not close, if you're not, God said, what God has joined together, let no man separate. Let no man put asunder. And that word separate means allow no space between. Okay, listen. This is a huge key to building a successful marriage. What are you allowing to create space in your marriage relationship? Sometimes it's just our phones. I watch couples going out on dates and they're texting. One time I was out on a date with my wife and I took her out to dinner, and one of my children had texted me, and I was texting back, and then I was put the phone down. I was going to talk to her, and then she's just sitting there texting, and I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm just following your model. I'm just following your example." And so I got a lesson that day. That's not healthy. We can even allow our, electronic, our cell phones or iPads, or, we're so digitally connected and electronically tethered to our jobs that we don't have time to focus on the things that are really important. And so, we're going to continue to talk about how to build a successful marriage. And so today I want to talk about getting to know your mate. Getting to know your mate. 1 Peter 3 and verse 7 says, "Husbands likewise dwell with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife as to the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of this life, that your prayers may not be hindered." And so here he's saying that we have a responsibility to get to know one another, to dwell with each other with understanding. That's a command, it's not a suggestion. And I'm determined to be a lifelong student of Janice. I want to know what makes her tick. I want to listen to the cues that she gives me, or the suggestions that she has. and I want to, please her rather than please myself first. And, but some people have said, well, I just can't understand. I can't understand my wife. I can't understand women. And they listen to that joke where the guy says, Lord, I'd really like to go to Hawaii, but I'm afraid to fly. And so, could you build a bridge to Hawaii so we could drive over there? The Lord said, well, son, that's a big request. He said that would take a lot of effort and a lot of unnecessary time when you could just deal with your fear. And he said, do you have another request? And he said, well, I'd really like to understand my wife. And then the Lord responded. He said, well, would you like that road 2-lane or 4-lane? Well, that's just a joke. It's not real. The reality is that God does understand your wife, and He does understand if you're a woman. He does understand your husband, and He can give you understanding. He can impart it to you if you'll seek Him. So it's just a lifelong pursuit of mine, and it should be of yours, to become heirs or possessors of all that He has graced you to receive together in this life. He said we're heirs together of the grace of this life, and we need to dwell with one another according to knowledge. We don't need to assume what each other wants. We need to make that our passion. I believe that this is progressive. It's not something you just figure out in 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. Years ago, we went to my wife and I went to Israel. Our church gifted us with a trip to Israel. We were up on Mount Masada, and it was really warm there. And I went to get a drink for us to share, and they were like $8, and I didn't have. I don't think they took credit cards, and all I had was, enough to buy one. So I thought they had strawberry banana smoothies and they had orange smoothies, and I thought, well, I like strawberry banana. I'll get orange, and for my wife, and I did that and paid the $8, and I came and brought it to her, and she said, I don't like orange juice. And I said, we'd been married over 30 years, I think, at the time. And I said, yeah, I spent $8 buying something that you didn't like. No, I didn't know that. She said, well, I just drank. I said, I've seen you drink orange juice. Yeah, I just did it because you guys liked it. All the kids liked it. And I found out something new about my wife, and we'd been married 30 years. And it works both ways. It's not just men needing to learn to understand their wives. It's wives needing to learn to understand their husbands. And this is not just something you get in a class. It's something that you seek the Lord about. It's something that you look to God about. You depend upon Him. You listen to Him. You pray. God, show me my wife's heart. Show me how to minister to her. Show me what she really needs. And, God will show you if you'll seek Him about it. He said to dwell with one another according to knowledge. So, you know what? I've got the grace to understand my wife. Now, I'm not saying I have her all figured out. I mean, that's the joy. Even of a relationship is that we constantly grow and learn about one another. When we get to heaven, I often wondered why the 24 elders and angels sing holy, 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 24/7. And then the Lord showed me. He said, when you get to heaven, it's going to be one dimension of knowledge, the knowledge of God, to another. It's like they're going to be saying, holy, holy, and then see another dimension of God. Holy, wow, it's awesome. And so, it's similar with our relationship with our mates. And I just encourage you, make a decision to become a student of your mate. Make a decision to I attend Janice University, and then I determined to learn more about her all of the time. And one of the keys to getting to know your mate is to make them a priority. We shared that in the last lesson. If your mate knows that they're more valuable than anyone else to you and a priority to you, it's going to cause them to open up and to share things and to trust intimate things with you and share personal things with you. If your mate feels valued by you, what it'll do is it'll engender trust in the relationship. And where trust is established, it causes people to feel safe and to open up and to share things that you wouldn't learn if there wasn't trust. Why is it in some marriage relationships that people have best friends outside of their marriage relationship? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having friends. We should have friends that's healthy outside of our marriage relationship, but there's nobody that's a greater BFF in my life than my wife. And there's a real problem if you feel more safe with a best friend than you do to share things in with your mate. That's just wrong, guys. And look, that's no condemnation. If that's the case, then go back to this point of the fact that you need to make your mate. You need to become a student of your mate's university. You need to become a student. You need to make it a goal to value them in greater than you do anything else in life, rather than having other relationships outside of that. And then I don't make my wife or my children have to compete for my time in the ministry or in career. Now, I'm not saying I do that perfect, but I allow my wife. My wife knows my schedule. She's got a part in my calendar, and she can change it anytime she wants to within reason, and at least she knows what I'm doing. And my children know, and they knew when they were younger, they could interrupt us anytime that they needed us. And so, if an urgent ministry thing called me out, I let them buy that time back. And Mark chapter 10, this is a verse that a lot of people use as an excuse to put ministry or put career over their family. And it's Mark chapter 10, 29 and 30. And Jesus answered and said, "Assuredly I say to you, there is no one who's left house or brothers or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my sake and the gospel's, who shall not receive 100-fold now in this time houses and brothers and sisters and mothers and children and lands with persecution, and the age to come eternal life." And so a lot of people use that to say, well, see, I'm just following the Lord, and I'm going to leave my family and my kids, and I can trust God with that. That's not what that verse is saying. He's just saying, look, I want you to place a greater allegiance on your relationship with me than these other relationships. He didn't say, follow me and leave your family. But now sometimes when you follow Jesus, your family will leave, and their family members won't follow. But that's on them. That's not on you. And so you need to be thankful that if you're married, you need to be thankful that anybody'd want to live with you. Praise God. And if you really want to get to know your mate, you have to place the proper value on them. The second thing in getting to know your mate is that we need to have a better understanding of the distinctions between men and women. What men want in a marriage relationship, and we're going to begin to talk more about this, expectations in marriage in the next couple of lessons. But what men want in marriage is a responsive bride. He wants a wife who wants to be with him and desires to meet his needs. There's nothing more attractive to a man than a woman who wants to be with him and is passionate toward him. And if I was in a large audience, I would say, and all the men said, amen, because they'll agree with me. How does it make you feel, ladies, when your husband does not want to talk with you willingly? When the lights are on and nobody's home. That's exactly how he feels when you withhold the gift that only you can give to him in the sexual relationship willingly. And the Lord too desires a responsive bride. And women, what women want in a relationship is an engaged and connected husband. She wants a man who will engage with her in meaningful conversation, a time devoted to her when you're not thinking about something else or not wishing you were somewhere else. When she comes home and you come home and she asks, "How was your day?" "Fine." What happened? What happened to nothing? That just kind of warms your heart, doesn't it? The lights are on, nobody's home. Listen, men that are watching, what that does to a woman is the same thing as rejection in the bedroom does to you. And so, time, that you spend with her, where you turn off the office and you tune out and shut off the phone and answering emails and so on. Remember how it was when you courted her. You knew what it was like when to connect with her, and you did that without any coaching. You knew what she needed, and wives, women, you know what he wanted. Look, that's exactly the way we need to be treating one another now. A woman loves a man with a plan because it means that he thought about her. And a man loves a woman with a smile because it means that she loves and accepts and enjoys being with her man. That's powerful. The number one fear that men deal with is shame. Men fear failure. They struggle with feelings of inadequacy because they don't want to be shown up to look bad. It's actually more pain to a man to be shamed and rejected than to be beat up physically. Men will lie or fight or run to avoid shame. And we'd rather suffer physical pain than the emotional pain that shame brings with them. You can tell that by looking at little boys on the playground. They say, "Oh, I bet you can't do that," or "You can't beat me," or "My daddy's got a better job than your daddy," or "My daddy could whip your daddy." You don't hear little girls saying that. The number one fear that women deal with is isolation. Women naturally fear being left alone. And when her husband doesn't talk with her in an engaged way, it makes her feel alone, uncared for, and unloved. You might provide more than adequately for them financially, but she needs to feel that you're with her and that you're together as a team. Little girls on a playground, you don't hear, my mama's can whip your mama. You'll hear, "I'm not going to be your best friend anymore." What does that tell us? That a woman a woman desires connection. A woman in a disconnected relationship wants to talk. And the reason her husband doesn't want to talk is because he feels he's failed somehow and fears the shame that's associated with it. And when a woman feels isolated, she tells her husband, "We need to talk." He resists that for fear that, she's going to tell him, "You've missed it," or "You haven't done what I wanted you to do," or, you've failed in some way. Listen, we need to understand one another, the way God understands us. We need to understand what makes each other tick. We need to understand. To build a strong marriage relationship, we need to take the time to understand what our spouse needs. And I'm just speaking over you today. The grace to open your heart, to understand your mate, to listen to them, to connect with them, to meet them on a level that will meet their needs. And I know that God is able to build a much stronger relationship, a relationship where you're still, after 30 years or 40 years, you're holding hands, you're connected. People can see you're the model of a marriage that they would want to be like. Thanks so much for tuning in to Wisdom for Living and learning how to build a successful relationship.
Today's teaching, Building a Successful Marriage, is available in a 5-part CD or DVD album, or on a USB flash drive containing both audio and video. Go to gregmohr.com and order your copy today.
Hey, I want to encourage you to partner with Greg Mohr Ministries. If you've been blessed, if you've received, if I've sown into you spiritual things that have helped you in your marriage, I want to encourage you to invest in other people's marriages and other people's homes. Your gift will help us to get product to people that will help them in their marriage, that will get this broadcast out to other couples who are struggling in their marriage. Invest in others, and through investing in Greg Mohr Ministries, and God will multiply the seed that you sow. And I'd love to connect with you. So go to gregmohr.com. You'll see there how you can partner with us. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
If you've been blessed by today's teaching, we would like you to consider partnering with Greg Mohr Ministries. Your partnership will help expand this broadcast around the world to give people the opportunity to grow in wisdom, Christ-likeness, and grace. Go to gregmohr.com and become a partner today. Remember, you can order resources or partner with our ministry at gregmohr.com or by writing to us at P.O. Box 7702, Woodland Park, Colorado 80863. We look forward to hearing from you today. Join us again tomorrow for more Wisdom for Living.
Your number one assignment in the marriage relationship is to outserve your spouse and to fulfill their expectations. And what you're going to be tempted to do is to try to meet needs that they don't have, but that you have. We'll share later about some of the love languages, and many times the reason why understanding your mate's love languages are so important is because many times we're trying to minister to our mates out of a need that we have rather than a need that they have. And so, whenever you do that, you may be scratching somewhere that they don't itch.
That's tomorrow on Wisdom for Living.